you. That's what age
Right.
brings you, is the time. It's just, you know, it's just, you've just had more time to have those experiences where the experiences of not listening to yourself. If you don't meditate and you don't take that time to be in that uncomfortable space where you have to hear the hard truths of actually what you feel,
your authentic self, and what your authentic self feels. Because I mean, I'm even coming back now to the Instagram handstand that, you know, we see about 50 times a day, which is very impressive and wonderful. And they're wearing a beautiful brand of yoga leggings, and it's fantastic. But, you know, I really think it is a symbol for how much we all perform life so much and try. And often I'm finding when I'm teaching breathing, every single time I find myself saying, there's no need to try. You don't need to try to breathe.
Yeah.
Just breathe. Because people really go, I'm going to meditate now. And you're like, you don't need to, just make your breathing totally effortless.
Yeah. But that's the same as singing.
Right.
It's the same as singing. And there is, I was talking to this friend about it, that and I hadn't actually thought about it until we were talking recently. I said, actually, when you take a breath to speak, you don't go. So when I was just doing the, you know, if you actually expel more air, and then you don't have enough air to you know, to. But I could talk for like a minute, and I haven't even had a breath for ages. Like maybe now I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking, oh well, maybe I need to take a breath, but I don't need to take a breth really, because I get some here, and then I could. It's like, but you know, and that would be like I don't go so it's all connected. That's what I learned, is that it's just all connected.
100%.
To us as physical beings are connected. Our breath is connected to how you look at the world. Then how you look at the world affects how the world is, and how you look at the world in being a breathing entity. You know, we have this thing around this beautiful globe that we have that is being destroyed because we're so busy being quick, instead of going, but it has to breathe.
We're suffocating it and ourselves, right?
Well, we're either doing that or we're holding.
Right.
If I just get past this, if I just do that, and that's what I kind of feel like the pandemic has happened now. I think we're all like bated breath.
Yeah.
We've all taken a breath because the air is cleaner, and we've all gone, oh my goodness, and then we're like, what now? People don't know what to do, and actually it's just going, just relax.
And I think it's gone on a lot longer than everyone thought, and so that it's like that inhale, people sort of waiting for someone else to tell them to exhale, and they're like, wait, it's still not over? I'm still in this space? Okay, so do I breathe out, or do I just stop and wait here? I don't know. And
breathe out, or it's all just shallow.
Right.
Like, well, if I just
short, shallow breaths.
Doing it,
it's vulnerable.
Yeah.
And it's vulnerable, but
how lovely that everyone's going through it together.
Exactly. And I think, sorry, what are you saying?
Well, that everyone has in some way had that vulnerability, has had to say to someone at some point, I'm not having a good day today. You know, and they're able to do that because also they're not around hundreds of people, they're not around loads of people. It's like, you know, we have to have these bubbles because we have to be mindful and of others, and I think people are being more vulnerable with their close circle. They're more able to be because they're not busy with other people who don't really know them, and they don't have to be themselves, they don't have to be authentically themselves. But you know, and that's also why the suicide rate is so terrible, because you know, because it's not about the pandemic, it's about before the pandemic, that people couldn't be vulnerable, and so therefore in the pandemic that was if we prevented it before something like this, we wouldn't have a pandemic.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have a mental health crisis. We wouldn't have a pandemic, because actually if people did think about being vulnerable with each other, then they would be more compassionate, and then it would then follow on to animals, and then there wouldn't be a bat that was eaten, it's a cycle. It's a real, just a circle of
that word suffocation is, I think, so prevalent, seeing as coronavirus is a respiratory disease.
I mean, it's totally like ironic. Like, what? It's just ridiculous.
And
hilarious and brilliant. Like the universe is like having a joke with us. It's like, well, also, I mean, I say to my friends, it's like the fire, the fires in Australia, where 1 billion animals were killed. 1 billion.
It's just disastrous. That
wasn't enough for us to go, we're suffocating the planet. Humans are doing this. So the universe just went, okay,
we'll suffocate you.
I'm going to take out a few of you, and suffocate you, and make you feel like you can't breathe. Through, not just through the getting the virus, but through grief, and through stress, and through all of these things that you will have to learn to work through and find a way to deal and to be kinder to one another. So,
I think this is the perfect time to bring up the Strallen Collective, and how that came about, and the birthing of that, the Strallen Collective.
We're still in the conception. Well, we're in the sort of still in the pregnancy stage.
I mean, I definitely feel like it's been born, having attended two ceremonies. Maybe that's just me, but
well, I mean, it's in 4th trimester. We haven't quite gone through the birth. It's more like the moment when it's like the body is forming,
I see.
And it's like suddenly it, like, you get skin.
Maybe it just has fingernails right now. It's just got the fingernails.
Exactly. So we I have been, because of this situation, I mean, I took a year or 2 or 3 out after Top Hat, because I had the same sort of issues that I'd been having with patriarchy in the system, and then I came back and was doing a job with people, and I was one of the leads, and the ensemble were being just not in the job, they were being treated well in the job, but they were then trying to go for other jobs, and the way that they were being treated by the casting process, I just was like, I have to do something about this. If I'm going to be in this business, I have to do something. So I then sort of went to equity meetings, and I then became an equity counsellor, and did that for a couple of years. And with the counsellor job, or the counsellor position, it's more about what happens in the union rather than what happens outside, what the union does for the union. So I'm now sort of less involved, obviously, because I'm in the US, but and everyone sort of makes those comparisons of UK and US and how much
of course.
Actually, it's not. I mean, the laws are different for union workers, but because of society and the hierarchy, it's still trying to do exactly what it did in the UK, where they abolished the union's power. But I still believe there's safety in numbers, and that's because I know I felt that connection with a group of people in a spiritual setting where we've all done something, and it's made this incredible energy. And I do think that the more holistic and spiritual people are showing up a lot more now, because even though, and going back to the Instagram thing with the yoga, even though there is that side of it, there's also the side of people just going, okay, it's like David Attenborough is on Instagram now.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But he's the last person who wants to be on Instagram, because
of course
it's owned by Facebook, who exploit their workers in, who then goes on to the millionaires and the billionaires and the trillionaires in the US, and it's all feeding that conglomerate, which is what he doesn't want to be. But he realizes that now the masses are engaged in that. Yeah. So sometimes you have to, if you can't beat them, join them in a way. It's like
to tell an important story.
Yeah, and also, the Buddha said about leading from within.
Right.
Or leading from behind. You go, okay,
so powerful.
Where you want to go, cool. We're here, but let's steer you in the right direction. And that's what happened with the pandemic and George Floyd. I mean, again, that horrendous hashtag.
Yeah.
About breath.
Yeah.
It's like how many more times do we need to hear it before, and how many more people need to die before we get it, or people, or human, or beings, any animals or trees, whatever it is. So I've always kind of been involved in, recently I've been in not involved, but just had an idea of this utopian society of all these artists being together, and it being a community, and us, coming together and almost, I don't want to say bringing down, but bringing together the business and the artistry.
Yeah.
I have this utopian desire to have these things brought together. And so I'm set up this business, the Strallen Collective, because I want people, in this business that we have right now in the pandemic of online classes, people doing online classes, I don't want them to be exploited. I don't want some businessman who doesn't understand artists and also knows what artists can and can't do, taking a model and just going, I can pay you this much and I can make this much,
like a can of baked beans
in like a product, exactly. And we, and that is also the thing that happened in theatre for me, was that I started saying to these people, I'm not a product, I'm a person. I'm not a product that you can just make, put I don't know, super glue back together.
A new sticker, a new flavor,
or a new battery. Like, it doesn't work like that. You have to nurture a person.
And listen, right?
And listen,
actually listen
and let them be heard. So I set it up because I didn't want anyone, I also didn't want people to be undervaluing themselves, because I value them so highly. I value art so highly, because it's a way that's not spiritual to make people feel something. Because I have that spiritual side, I have that mystical, magical side that I believe in. Also, I also know that it's not everybody's cup of tea. And everyone feels in a different way. Because no one can feel the way that you feel about anything, and I can't feel the way that you feel. We're just all totally feeling in different ways, whether that's in our physical bodies, in our mental bodies, all of that. So with these classes and events, I'm just trying to sort of bring a bit of theatre to the end, to people's homes, but also connect it with that more mystical, spiritual, holistic, I mean, it's not necessarily spiritual. No, I will say that it is spiritual, because that is the reason I called it the Strallen Collective, is because it's my tools. It's what I did to get through life and to survive, actually, and I feel like there are so many people who are really surviving instead of thriving, because they don't have these, they just don't know about it. So it's an education as well. But these people who I have are some of the most experienced people, and I'm celebrating each one of their uniqueness. So someone who might connect to Scarlett, for instance, you know, we're sisters, but we're very fundamentally different. You know, and we have different ideas on different tools of, you know, not massively different now, but like, you know, but we do have different ways of looking at things. And someone might connect with her and someone might connect with me. And it's about celebrating everybody. We can all be doing it. And there are a lot of people who want to learn it, not only just in the industry, but people, you know, or people who are aspiring to be in the industry, but also just people in general. You know, they all want to know how to feel, and our job is apparently this glamorous, you know, thing. It's less of the glamour and more of the fact it's we are privileged in the way that we get to feel more than anybody else, because that's our job. That is what we choose to do, and that's what we, you know, some people are better at it than others because of their stories, because of their journeys, because they want to help people understand different people's stories, and that's all it is.
I mean, that beautifully rounds us back to your Native American music playing in the background. I mean, what is the origins of storytelling, right? It's those indigenous tribes painted on walls, and, you know, making this incredible music, not to sell as many tickets as they can at the London Palladium, but just to pass down stories to generations and connect.
Well, to connect to what is important, and that is our connection to the material world, because that's what we're living in. And we have to take care of it. And it's you sparked something in me then about you know, the collective. That's why I called it the collective. And I don't, you know, you'll notice that there's a lot of collectives come out in the last 6 months. As soon as I started looking at the word collective, I can't stop seeing it. You know, the creative collective, the this collective, the that collective, the Strallen Collective, you know, because we're all going, we need to come together in order to, you know, which I've always been saying, but, you know, not always, but like in the last 7 years. And it all is just ties in with being, you're working collectively with your mind and your body. And I've been lucky that I've been able to connect to my body through training. You know, that's it, when you feel connected to your body is when you feel connected to the earth, and then you feel the earth connected to you, and that's the power of the, you know, you feel the power of all of that. And it can be magical when those moments happen. It really is. And I want other people to be able to experience that.
Collective consciousness is something I've been looking into recently. There's incredible research, and actually, you know, we're so lucky we're actually alive in this day and age that so many people would love to see, where they can actually look at what's really going on in this collective consciousness. And they know now that when people did pray and sing together, that actually physiologically, you know, it connects them to something outside of themselves, to each other, to themselves. It creates coherence between your heart and your brain. There's so many things, and it's the power of it is enormous, but it all goes around space and stopping and taking space and time and silence, right? Which is what people are struggling with in the Western world now, I think.
Well, yes, and also I think that there's been a with different people and their fear guiding them. That's where it has, the connection's lost. When you're feeling fearful of a god, a thing, then you're not seeing it as yourself. You're not seeing it as connected to you. You know, and anything you're fearful of, you're creating. It's the fear that you have you know, and that also, you know, that came from language and power. You know, power was a big thing, you know, tribes and, you know, it was all about who had the most power, had the most land, and who survived. It wasn't actually about the greed. It was about survival. And so it, and because they didn't have the more cognitive brain by that point, you know, it was about like, oh, you're against us, you know, not like come together, you know, because we're fearful of you, because we don't understand you, because we don't give enough time, you know, and so religion then turned into something, or, you know, in some instances, in other instances, it's still the beautiful thing that is just, let's all just be kind to one another and help each other and have compassion and non-judgment and non-violence and all the things that are in the Upanishads, which is where yoga comes from, you know, where Buddhism comes from, and Jainism. It's all about just doing the good for the greater, for the whole,
for the collective,
for the collective good. And you know, we slowly are trying to sort of iron out what was misconstrued and mistranslated, you know, by people who just went, oh, I don't really know what this means, so I'm just going to write this down. It means that we don't like gays, you know. It's like, no, doesn't quite mean that. You know, what this person was trying to say was trying to explain the experience that they had in the only way they knew how. That's all, you know, that's how I look at any kind of scripture. It's that people have experienced these things and have translated it into speech in the way that the only way they knew how, and we've taken it literally. Because we didn't know that either, because we didn't have the internet and we didn't have cameras and we didn't have you know, Instagram, you know, with people
we didn't know.
I just experienced this, there you go, I just experienced this, or even seeing it being experienced, you know, seeing people walking on water or whatever, really, it probably wasn't that he felt like he was walking on water, because he was in this space where he was connected to himself and life and the world all together, and he felt like he was walking on water. That sounds more, you know,
transcendent state,
more realistic as well. Now that we know about gravity and we know about the planets and we know about all this stuff now, and the fact that it's that people aren't taking that moment to just go, what is the information we have? You know, and that's another thing about Instagram that, you know, not another thing, is a thing that could be a negative about things like that, is that people don't do their research.
It's, are you seeing? You're seeing, but are you looking? Are you hearing, but you're really listening?
And there's so much stuff, and you know, this whole fake news thing, you know, it's like, yes, there is, you're right, Donald Trump, actually. I wish someone would say, yes, you're right, but it's on both sides. So you know, your idea of it is not right, but you are right. Fundamentally, there is fake stuff going around for the benefit of other people, in order to benefit the government, to benefit the billionaires, to benefit, because they can pay for it. Because they're terrified of losing their $100 million house, because that's what they have. That's how they experience connection. And how sad for them is all.
Absolutely.
I mean, yes, I could do with more money just to be feeling like I was secure in myself, you know, and having a house and just a settlement of mind or whatever. But you know, these people who need all this other stuff is because they can't connect to anything. And it's understandable, and it's you know, it's a block, it's a chakra block somewhere. They've been blocked, because they've not been allowed it, or there've been some kind of fear, something's happened where they've had a toy taken away from them or something, and it's affected them so badly that they're like, no, I need all the toys, because if I don't keep this toy, then I'm not going to have a toy, and that's not going to make me happy. You know, it's so fundamental psychology, you know, Psych 101.
Absolutely. And I think it's so inspiring, and it's empowering that you're holding this space now for people to explore those demons, or those sort of those vulnerabilities that perhaps they don't know if they could explore in their own homes, or their own, you know, their own tribes that have been put in place for them.
In the theatre community, in the show business community,
especially. I
mean, it's becoming more, you know, with Gwyneth Paltrow and whoever else who have been highlighting it and celebrating it for so long. But you know, it is definitely the time for us to be doing it.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, also it's not just the demons that you hear, but it's the light as well. It's the light of going, you know, you might get an epiphany if you just sit still and go, oh, I'm going to do that, you know, and it might be to do with the thing that you're doing. It might not be completely, you know, like for me, it might not be not the same as me, where it was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And that for me was a dark shadow, because I was like, this is so big. It's so big that it's so overwhelming. But for someone else, it might be like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do this. I want to do that, you know. And you know, because I suffer from depression, I went that way, because my brain has been traumatized and my synapses have been it is physical, you know, the trauma that happens to your brain, what you are fed through your eyes and through your ears and and all of that is what can affect you so negatively, which is your brain scientifically can break your brain.
Absolutely.
So what you do inhale, ingest, intake is so important.
100%.
And that's why, again, coming back, it's like, so why are we all flying around the world all the time? Because what is most important is our breath. And we're ruining the air. How? It's like, what? What?
We're not listening.
So, but it's happening. It's gonna happen. Well, we have had to. She's gone. You're gonna have. You're like, it's like we were all having a tantrum on the shop, on the shop floor. And she's gone, I'm just gonna leave you here, and I'm gonna let you be scared that I've gone. Because I'm not doing this anymore. She's taken me by hand. She's gone, I'm not doing it anymore. Sort yourself out. Come back when you're ready to apologise.
Absolutely.
Come back when you're ready to apologise. That's what Mother Earth, Mother Gaia, the universe has said to us. Come back when you're ready to apologise and give me a cup of tea and
a custard cream.
And a custard cream.
I love that. Well, listen, I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I have one more question for you, because when I've done your women's circles, I've always come away with such a sense of empowerment, of just other females lifting each other up and holding space. And so I guess I just wanted to ask you in a nutshell, in like one sentence, what is female empowerment to you? That, you know, last night especially, we talked about this inner goddess and your goddess, and what does that mean to you? What's the essence of that?
Well, I trained to be a doula, and I learnt the physiology of birth. And if I could give any advice to any woman, it would be learn about the physiology of birth, because it is one of the most incredible things that happens, that is a chemical happening in this body that we have. And it's a power that that men don't have. It's our magical, it's our superpower. Is to create life in our bodies and expel it safely, and we are built to do that. And not only our bodies, but our minds and our brains are able to tell our bodies, it works all together. And the power from seeing a woman give birth, not in the flesh, I haven't done it in the flesh, but from seeing different videos of nice births, you know, births that are generally births are good when women feel safe, and or protected, or just allowed to be a woman. You know, you're just, let me be a woman. This is what my body was made to do. Not meaning everyone has to do it.
No,
it's what our bodies physically are made to do. That's why we have periods. That's why, you know, and then it goes on to my female empowerment of the fact we, at a very young age, bleed every month, and that's terrifying. And we get through it, and we talk to each other, and we have different hormones, and we have acne, and we have these things that men don't have, you know. I'm sure they have other things that are equally bad for them, but when I realized that about women was when I went, I am equal. And we are all equal, and there needs to be a balance. And sometimes you have to bring up the balance, you know. Sometimes the people on, you know, it's like lifting someone up onto a wall. I want to try and lift as many women with my power, with the power that I have, which isn't a lot. Sometimes mentally I'm a mess, and vulnerable, and I need my women behind me who, you know, might at that point be strong and say, no, come on, we can do this together.
It's collective again, right?
You know, so that's also, you know, and having 3 sisters, wanting to do that for them, and wanting to do that for my niece and for the women that I have in my life, just purely because it'll only happen if we do it together. And then the men can join, you know. Once we're at this level, at the moment they're going, what are you doing, you know, and we're going, well, we're at your level because you've all together been going, no, women can't do this, women can't. Together they've been fearful of the fact that women can birth children, keep the human race alive. We keep the human race alive, not them. We do. Our bodies, our physical, you know. And this is why with science and cloning and all of that is scary, because it means that we are no longer necessary. Neither of us are. But cognitive feeling and consciousness is what we bring to the earth, and the earth needs that. So that's a very long sentence, but that's how I feel. I
think you explained it brilliantly. No, honestly, it was fantastic.
The circle of life.
And the collective, I think, it's such an incredible note to finish on, and I can't thank you enough. And every time I speak to you, the amount of insights that come up are just amazing. And I'll of course put links to the Conscious Collective, so anyone listening can just click and be led straight to it in the show notes, and go and check out all of Summer's amazing
Strallen Collective,
all of the Strallen Collective, of course, but all of Summer's amazing yoga classes, and all of your community's incredible classes as well.
And also we just want it to grow, you know. I'm not saying I've birthed this beautiful child. It's like, this is what I mean by about being still in that pregnant stage. I need people to nurture it and help with that, and get it, you know, and work together. It's like, you know, nourishing it.
It's just the beginning.
Nourishing that little amazing thing that's been created out of love. You know,
absolutely.
That's what babies are made out of. As well.
100%.
And life.
Yes, thank you so much. Honestly, it's been a joy and such a pleasure. And thank you so much.